On today's Music Nerd, Snoop's evolution from dog to lion. Is it honest? Will it work? The answer in 3 seconds. Last week, Snoop held a press conference to announce his new reggae album, Reincarnated, where he said that during a recent visit to Jamaica, he had a transformative experience and is now dedicating his music and life to the Rastafari way.
It's not that I want to become Snoop Dogg on a reggae track. I want to bury Snoop Dogg and become Snoop Lion.
That clip was from Fuse's coverage of Snoop's press conference. If you want to watch the whole video, you can click right here. But on that video, there was a very highly rated comment from username JC Naples who said simply, "Snoop is a marketing genius." And it's true. From a marketing perspective, this is brilliant. Even if it's terrible, I'm sure that Reincarnated will chart well on novelty alone. But I don't think that this is just a soulless marketing move. I take Snoop at his word when he says that this is genuinely what he wants to do. Regardless of what motivated the move is a bold one. Taking one's audience for granted can bite an artist in the ass. Remember when Kiss went disco? Remember when Garth Brooks went pop? Remember when Korn went dubstep? You don't. It sucked. That's the point. No one noticed. But rebranding can sometimes also work really, really well. Prince turned himself into a symbol. Radiohead's early struggle to break the pop mold while maintaining an audience, and they ultimately succeeded. And my producer tells me there was also a band at one point called the Beatles, who had a very successful album where they rebranded themselves as Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Weird. My prediction is that this is going to work out just fine. Music is just one aspect of the lovable, constantly stoned cultural icon Snoop has become. Changing from dog to lion simply keeps him on our minds, cements his place in our hearts, and with Diplo producing, the album's not gonna suck.
Dan Brown!
I don't think Snoop Lion will suck, but I also don't think Snoop Lion will stick. I'm sure his affair with reggae will be hot and steamy, but Snoop's first love was hip-hop. After an album or two of Lion, I think that the dog will rise again. What do you think? Post a comment. Stop dancing. Last week's Music Nerd was a discussion with Mike Doughty about the state of music today and why up-and-coming musicians can't do it like they did it in the 90s. Mike tweeted out the video saying, "Sucks that @FuseTV labels this, Doughty says young bands are doomed. I don't. I want the culture to wake up for them." I don't know, Mike. You certainly seem to be the pessimist in the room, but you'll have to come back on to clear things up, huh? Got an open space right here. Right here. Mike Doughty could be right here. Our discussion continued full steam ahead in the comments. Username ZachmanZM said, "Dan completely owned Mike on this one, sorry to say. I can see Mike is coming from an experienced yet very biased viewpoint and is unwilling to accept new ideas or even listen to what Dan is saying for that matter. At least Dan was trying to explain his view instead of just saying, 'This is how music works.'" I appreciate that you're trying to support me here, Zachman, but this was not a debate. Nobody owned anyone. We were both after the same thing, and that's for musicians to be able to make a living off of their craft. We just happen to come from opposite sides of the media world. Our discussion has been percolating through my brain fibers over the last week, and while I stand by my point that there are many up-and-coming mid-level indie YouTube musicians surviving because of the internet and not in spite of it, Mike did open up my mind to a very real problem in the music world. Mid-level indie musicians who came up in the age of the internet obviously intuitively understand how the internet works. But there are many, many musicians who came up before the age of the internet, and the model that they mastered has just kind of vanished over the last decade. My mindset before last week was just kind of tough shit, but Mike humanized things for me a bit and made it a lot harder to ignore. I mean, I don't have a solution in mind right now, but maybe a few music nerds from now, after it's percolated further, I will. There's a lot of percolation going on. My mind is a coffee maker. A lot of percolating going on inside of my brain fibers. Whatever. In the meantime, I have added some of Mike Doughty's musical workings to the official Music Nerd Spotify playlist. There's a link to that in the description. Check it out and subscribe to it if you please. Also, subscribe to Fuse.